Hi, welcome back for my Dominion tutorial series. I want to talk about trashing cards now. Let's begin with curses. Curses are bad cards. It should be obvious, but a card that does nothing for you and actively hurts your point total at the end of the game is something you would rather not have in your deck. Obviously, there's an exception to pretty much everything I say, ever. When it comes to Dominion, there are some times where you would rather have curses in your deck, but they're rare enough, they're not worth talking about. If you can trash curses and you have curses in your deck, usually you want to do it. So that's pretty much goes without saying. Let's talk about estates now. Estates are bad. I realize that they are worth points. However, they still do absolutely nothing for you. So, when you got a point and removed a bad card from your deck, when you trashed a curse, that was good. But even if you lost a point and removed a bad card from your deck, pretty much all the time, that's something that's worth doing. If you take the simplest case in Big Money, Big Money likes to trash estates. If you have a card that trashes only estates and you stick it in your Big Money deck, you're going to get this great tempo boost, and the 3 points that you lose by trashing your estates is going to be worth it, because a lot of times it translates to a 5-3 province advantage, and that's 12 points, which is much more than 3. So estates are bad, and usually you want to get rid of them if you can. Let's talk about coppers. Coppers are bad, and this may sound a little crazy to you, but yes, I'm serious, coppers are bad, and so this may be sort of obvious to some people. However, it wasn't to me. Someone had to tell me that coppers are bad, and then I needed to trash them before I realized that coppers are bad and you need to trash them. So why are coppers bad? Well, I mean, yes, they're not as bad as estates, and sometimes, they're worth keeping around, but you start with 7 of them, and they're bad cards. Think of it this way. In the simplest case, you're trying to hit $8 with a hand of 5 cards. And if all 5 of them were coppers, you would hit $5. So the coppers are not really good enough by themselves to buy you provinces. You need better cards than coppers. So coppers in your Big Money deck, while they are not good for you, usually it's not worth it to get rid of them because that requires some resources, but they're still not good for you. You'd rather not have them when you're playing a Big Money deck, and a Big Money deck is one of the more favorable decks to have coppers in. So when it comes to all these cards, particularly coppers, because there's more of them, the biggest reason why these cards are bad for you is because you really want to draw your deck. Drawing your deck is really great. So if you're not drawing your deck, you're in, maybe a Big Money deck or money density paradigm, something like that. When you add a card to your deck, when you try to improve your deck, you don't draw that card every turn. And so that card's effect on your deck is divided by the total number of turns you expect before you actually get to see that card. So if I add a silver to my deck, it only improves my average turn by maybe a half of a coin or something if my deck has 20 cards in it, for example. When you're drawing your deck, as long as you can keep drawing your deck, that silver will increase every turn by 2 whole coins. And every card you add to your deck, you can play it immediately afterwards. So not only can you adapt to new situations more quickly, but you can increase the total output of your deck in a much more rapid way, so that you can potentially be getting more than 1 province on an average turn, as opposed to your best turns are just getting 1 province. So the coppers are getting in the way of not only the synergies you have between the different cards in your deck that you need to draw together, but also it's just getting in the way of you drawing your deck, which is a much stronger state to be in. Drawing your deck is very, very powerful, and without trashing your 10 starting cards and any curses that come in, it's very, very difficult to draw your deck. And so that's why trashing these cards is so, so powerful.